I actually know stuff about this, so that's good. So basically, jobs get broken down into red versus blue jobs. Red being offensive tasks, blue being defensive tasks, and then somewhere in between you have purple, which is like a mix of both. Kind of all do purple. So the first red space job is an operator. So this is like your purest form of offense. They get a tool, a target, and then they put hands on keyboard and they go after that target, right? Um, there is no legal job that exists besides like working for the government to do this, right? So like this would be like your black hat hackers, stuff like that. The only people that do this legally, that can do it legally, are military professionals or uh, people attached to the Department of Defense, and that's all covered under like Title 50. Um, yeah. Next job is an analyst. So this is the person who gives the operator the target and all the intelligence required. This is also the person who does the follow-on work once you're in a network. I would say that CWEs play a role heavily in like the analyst uh, world, right? If you have any questions at any time, just stop. Um, and then you have a network penetration tester or a pen tester. So this is the closest thing you'll ever get to being an operator if you don't work for the military. Um, so it's just like being an operator, but instead of having like an adversarial target, you're hired to hack a corporation, basically pen test their network. So it's a really good job. You make like 6 figures easily. Um, and a company will hire you. You go and you penetrate. You try to get into their network and see where their flaws and vulnerabilities are at. And afterwards, you make up a whole report and you advise them on things that they need to update, things they need to fix, stuff like that. It's really cool. Yeah, it's like hacking if you spent the entire time writing documentation because like you have to write up a very verbose report that is easy for like the CEO to understand, right? Like these are like hospitals and like banks hiring you to do this stuff. Next thing is a physical penetration tester. A lot of the times you are both a network penetration tester and a physical penetration tester, but basically they're like network penetration testers, but they're hired to break into buildings instead. And you may be like, bro, what? But like it's like a straight up fact. So I took a class from a pen tester, and he was both a network and physical penetration tester, and he straight up just like uh, what's it called? Piggybacked his way into a building, and they were just like no one said anything to him. He stuck a USB drive into a random computer, walked out, and then not only did he physically penetrate the building, he also penetrated the network afterwards as well. Um, yeah. So a lot of time they're tied together, but like it's a whole separate job to also do the physical penetration test because it requires sometimes a different set of skills. A lot of social engineering stuff like that. And then you have a web app penetration tester. So this is basically a network penetration tester, but they specifically focus on web applications. It's because web is like a whole different genre of stuff a lot of the time. And if a company is literally only running a website, they don't want a full penetration test on their network. They may just want just onto their website. Um, and yeah, you give them a write up, you give them the exploits and the bugs to whoever's paying you. Um, if no one is paying you, then you're a bug bounty hunter. Um, so it's like a bounty hunter, but you do it for like bugs in like people's software or their web applications and stuff. And you can submit a report to a bug bounty company, and they'll give you money back for it. Super cool. Yeah. And then you have CNO developers, right? So computer network operations. Um, so these are people who build the tools required for operators and pen testers to do their job. For the most part, these people work for pen test companies and release their tools as content marketing for everyone else to use. In the military, they work specifically for operators, right? So that CWEs, CNO developers. Um, Kali Linux is like the biggest pen testing uh, operating system, uh, and it's ran by oh god, I remember their name. Uh, Offensive security. Kali Linux is ran by Offensive Security, and they maintain like a bunch of different tools for specifically pen testing. So they are the CNO developers. Then you have exploit developers, these people who write specifically exploits on various pieces of software and then distribute the working exploits to operators, pen testers, and often the company or software projects. So these are also bug hunters. Like a lot of people that write exploits also hunt for the bugs, and then they write the exploit for the bug to prove that it's actually a bug. These are also called like vulnerability researchers and stuff like that. It's also what CWEs do. And then on the blue side of things, you have sysadmins, help desk, and network engineers. I wouldn't say I would group all three of them into the same thing, but that's all right. So basically, they're the front line of defense, and pretty like they are the most important. These are all security jobs. Their job is to secure a system or a network. So, like sysadmins are going to be working almost purely with the system itself. So they're going to be the people updating your computer. They're going to be fixing permissions on it. But they're not going to be the person that you see or the person that you call most of the time. They're the person that's working on the server in the back. Help desk are the people that you call. Those are people that make sure your account's cool, secured. They reset your passwords for you and stuff like that. Network engineers are even more in the back of the server closet than sysadmins are, and they're the people that fix like problems across the network, in between servers, things that aren't communicating properly or not. Yeah, sometimes, a lot of times, a sysadmin is all three in one. So they're the sysadmin, help desk, and network engineers at smaller companies, which is a problem. Then you have security engineers. So these are people who attempt to architect the network systems and policies so that attackers have a hard time stealing everything. So, you just can't stand up a network and server and computers and be like, that's good. You need someone who has security already in mind to be like, this is how we should do it. These are the kinds of softwares that we use. And this is why we should do it this way instead. And you have a security analyst. So these are people who look at logs and alerts and defend the network from attackers 24/7. So a lot of jobs are here. And they normally work out of a SOC, which is a security operations center. So basically, every computer has log files. They log everything from network traffic to processes to when somebody wrote a file and stuff like that. And a security analyst's job is to look through those log files and see if anything is astray. There's tons of software that's built to analyze those log files. That way you're not doing it by hand, because obviously like millions of logs get generated each day for like large corporations. But even then, a smart hacker and a good hacker will be able to circumvent those log analyst tools. So the security analyst always has to be vigilant no matter what. And if they see something weird, they should probably investigate it. And then you have security. What the heck? That's on their choice. I don't know why. Okay. And then you have incident response. So after your system gets hacked, or while it's getting hacked, you have an incident response team. And that incident response team is supposed to get there immediately or as soon as possible. They're like on call. They're like the firefighters for like a network that's burning down. And their job is to basically secure that network as best as possible, kick the hackers off, and make sure that they have no way to get back on. They're super important. They're the first responders to any kind of breach. And then afterwards, to continue with that incident response, you have people on the teams that are digital forensics analysts. And so then they'll go on and they'll work up a timeline of what happened. So they're going to do forensics just like the police do, and find the fingerprints on the computer that tell you who was there or what they were doing or how they got on. And they build up a whole timeline. It's super cool. There's like sick tools. One of them is called autopsy, like as if you're like conducting an autopsy on a computer, like super cool. And they are responsible for trying to figure out who hacked your system, essentially. And then other people. You have malware analysts, so these people that are specifically used to analyze malware. You have threat analysts and threat intel. So these people like specifically like, hey, we may want to update this system. Here's the threat level to this, or like, hey, we currently have this threat level today based off of these active groups and this kind of information that we have. You have auditing and compliance / governance and policy. So these are people that are like making sure that a company is doing what it's supposed to be doing. It's storing user data the way it's supposed to be stored, stuff like that. Identity and access management. So these people that manage identity and access systems, so like logins, things like that. Then you have secure development. It's interesting that secure development is a separate thing, but basically this is like developing secure code. Secure code should be built into all curriculums, but like only 2 CS degrees in like the whole country actually actually make their students take a secure coding class. Um, so that's interesting. And then you have tool developers, which make any kind of tools, defensive or offensive tools. I believe that is the last slide. No, this is not me saying that. That's Dennis saying that. Any questions about that? About the job, about the industries? When? What do you mean? Like as a CWE?
Yes.
So CWEs are all developers. So we are all tool or CNO developers. Um, we are always hands-on keyboard writing code. Uh, you can put in preferences of like what kind of teams you want to go into. Um, give me a second. But like we don't do like the other jobs. I mean,